In the rolling farmland of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where the horizon is interrupted only by silos and the soft silhouettes of horse-drawn buggies, something quietly extraordinary has been happening for over 2 centuries. While the rest of America wheels shopping carts down fluorescent-lit aisles, debating organic labels and worrying about supply chain disruptions, roughly 350,000 Amish men, women, and children across North America have lived almost entirely outside the modern grocery economy. They do not walk into a Walmart, they do not browse Kroger, they do not order from delivery apps, and they have not done so for the better part of 200 years. To outsiders, this seems like a quaint relic of religious tradition, a stubborn refusal to modernize. But the truth is far more deliberate, far more sophisticated, and far more relevant to the fragile world we now find ourselves in. The Amish food system is not an accident of faith. It is one of the most carefully engineered, deeply redundant, and economically efficient food networks on the entire continent. They are not anti-modern, they are anti-dependence. And the data, when you finally look at it, suggests they have been right all along. To understand how an entire people can feed themselves without ever needing the industrial food chain, you have to begin where they begin, in the soil behind the farmhouse. The typical Amish family garden is not a hobby plot. It is a working agricultural unit, 2 to 3 times larger than the average American backyard garden, often stretching to a quarter-acre or more of carefully rotated beds. Walk through one in midsummer, and you will find sweet corn standing in tight green rows, potatoes hilled high beneath dark leaves, tomatoes heavy on staked vines, and rows of beets, carrots, celery, peas, beans, squash, and onions arranged with the precision of a chessboard. Every plant has a purpose. Every square foot has been calculated. A single garden of this scale is expected to feed a household of 7 to 9 children year-round, not just through the summer harvest, but through the long cold months of a Pennsylvania winter. Children are part of this system from the earliest age. By age 4, an Amish child is already kneeling in the dirt, learning which seeds to save, which weeds to pull, and how to read the soil. By the time they are teenagers, they can manage a crop rotation by memory. Heirloom seed varieties, passed quietly between families for generations, carry genetic histories no commercial seed company has ever cataloged. Some of the tomatoes ripening in these gardens this summer descend, unbroken, from seeds first planted before the Civil War. But growing the food is only the beginning. What truly separates the Amish from the rest of America is what happens after the harvest. Most modern American families plan meals 1 week ahead, scribbling a shopping list on Sunday night and hoping the store has what they need. The Amish woman of the house plans a full year of meals in advance. She knows, before the first frost arrives, how many jars of green beans her family will eat between November and April, how many pounds of pork they will need to make it to the next butchering, how many bushels of apples will be sliced, sauced, and dried before the spring blossoms return. This is not guesswork. It is arithmetic, refined over decades of household management and passed mother to daughter. The Amish pantry functions as a private grocery store, stocked methodically from spring planting through fall harvest. A typical cellar at peak season contains between 600 and 1,000 canning jars, neatly labeled and arranged in rows that catch the light of a single kerosene lamp like the stained glass of a country chapel. These pantries are sustained by what can only be called the 4 pillars of preservation, a quiet technology refined long before refrigeration was ever invented. The first is canning, both the water bath method used for fruits, jams, and pickles, and the higher pressure method required to safely seal meats and low-acid vegetables. The second is the root cellar, an underground chamber dug beneath the farmhouse where the earth itself keeps potatoes, onions, apples, carrots, and turnips between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit naturally year-round, without consuming a single watt of electricity. The third is drying. the oldest preservation method known to humanity, practiced in Amish homes by hanging herbs from kitchen rafters, slicing fruits onto wooden racks, and shelling corn for winter feed and meal. The fourth is fermentation and pickling, the deep alchemy of sauerkraut crocks bubbling on cellar shelves, chow chow relish gleaming in mason jars, brined cucumbers crackling under heavy stones, and barrels of apple cider vinegar slowly turning sour with time. Together, these four methods are capable of preserving up to 90% of an annual harvest with absolutely no reliance on the electrical grid. When the power goes out in modern America, freezers thaw and food rots within days. In an Amish home, nothing changes. The system was designed, from the beginning, never to need it. Beyond the garden lies the livestock loop, the second engine of Amish food sovereignty. Cows produce milk that is churned into butter, cultured into cheese, and warmed into yogurt on wood stoves. A single well-tended dairy cow can supply a family with 6 to 8 gallons of milk every single day, more than enough to feed children, fatten calves, and trade with neighbors. Chickens lay eggs from sunrise coops and supply meat for stews and Sunday dinners. Pigs are raised through summer and butchered in fall, transformed in farmhouse kitchens into bacon, ham, sausage, and that peculiar Pennsylvania Dutch breakfast specialty known as scrapple. Nothing is wasted. The bones become broth. The fat becomes lard. The offal becomes soap. Nothing is outsourced because nothing needs to be. Every animal serves multiple purposes, every byproduct finds a use, and every kitchen functions simultaneously as a dairy, a butcher shop, and a bakery. The economics of this system are, frankly, staggering. A study from Ohio State University on conventional crop production calculated the cost at roughly $393 per acre once you factor in diesel, fertilizer, seed, chemicals, equipment depreciation, and labor. The equivalent low-input Amish model, by comparison, came in at under $50 per acre. That is roughly 1/8 the cost of conventional American farming. There are no diesel tractors burning fuel from foreign refineries. There are no synthetic fertilizers manufactured from natural gas. There are no GPS guidance systems or debt-financed combines. There are no quarterly payments to John Deere. Horse-drawn equipment, properly cared for, lasts 40 to 60 years instead of being traded in every decade. The horses themselves reproduce. The manure they produce becomes the fertilizer for the next year's crops. The entire farm is a closed loop, and that loop has been turning, profitably and quietly, for 200 years. When something does go wrong, when a hailstorm flattens a wheat field or a barn burns to the ground in the middle of the night, the Amish do not call insurance adjusters or fill out federal aid forms. They call their neighbors. The barn raising, that famous spectacle of Amish life, is not a tourist photograph. It is the social safety net made visible. A barn that would take a hired contractor 6 months to build can be raised by 200 Amish men in a single day, sometimes in a single morning, while women carry out trays of food and children run lumber between the work crews. Frolics, as smaller work parties are called, fill the same role for harvests, butchering days, and quilting bees. There are no federal subsidies behind any of it. There are no insurance claims, no FEMA paperwork, no GoFundMe campaigns. Mutual aid is not charity in Amish theology. It is doctrine, written into the bones of the community, enforced not by law, but by the simple understanding that the next family to need help will probably be your own. What the Amish cannot grow or raise themselves, they buy from each other, often through the network of dry goods stores, bulk food shops, and what are known as Bent and Dent stores that dot Amish country. A Bent and Dent shop, named for the dented cans and dinged boxes it sells, offers close to expiration goods at deep discounts, often from manufacturer overruns and grocery store overflows. Many of these shops operate without any electricity at all, lit by propane lamps or skylights cut into the roof. The crucial detail is where the money goes. When an Amish family shops at a Benton Dent owned by another Amish family, that dollar stays inside the community. It circulates from one farm to another, from one shop to the next, building wealth horizontally rather than draining it upward into the distant accounts of multinational corporations. Internal trade is not just an economic preference. It is a deliberate strategy of community preservation, ensuring that the fruits of Amish labor remain in Amish hands. Then there is the bonus that even scientists did not expect to find. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine examined the health of Amish children and discovered something remarkable. Asthma rates among Amish children hovered at around 5%, while genetically similar Hutterite children, who farm using industrial methods, showed asthma rates above 20%. The same pattern held for allergies. Only about 7% of Amish kids showed elevated IgE markers, the immune signal associated with allergic disease, compared to 25 to 30% of children in the broader United States. Researchers at the University of Chicago dug deeper and found that dust collected from Amish farmhouses, when introduced to laboratory mice, actually protected those mice from developing asthma. The difference, scientists concluded, came from early and constant exposure to the traditional microbes of the farm, the dust of the barn, the dander of livestock, the raw milk fresh from the cow. By growing their own food the old way, the Amish were inadvertently raising children with immune systems trained for the real world, not the sterilized one. And so, after 2 centuries of quiet labor in the green hills of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, the data finally tells the story plainly. The Amish did not avoid the grocery store by accident or by stubbornness. They built, very deliberately, a redundant, resilient, hyper-local food system rooted in seasonal labor, time-tested preservation, integrated livestock, and unbreakable community trust. In a modern world where a single trucker strike, a single port closure, or a single warehouse fire can empty supermarket shelves within 48 hours, the Amish have quietly operated the most resilient food network on the continent. Their pantries are full, their cellars are cool, their children are healthier, their farms are debt-free, and the cost per acre to feed themselves is roughly 1/8 what the rest of the country pays. They are not living in the past. They are living in a system carefully engineered to outlast the fragility of our present. They are not anti-modern. They are, and have always been, simply anti-dependence. And after 200 years of evidence, it is worth asking whether the rest of us, with all our technology and all our convenience, are really the ones who have been ahead all along.